You're listening to Tipsy Technologists, the podcast where firewalls meet fun and innovation always pairs well with a good pour. She's the only person who can explain zero trust architecture while ordering a zero sugar margarita and somehow make both sound cool. Reshma Moorthy is back in the hot seat, and this time we're getting personal. The leader, the strategist, the person who can juggle cybersecurity crises and probably remember where she parked. From leadership lessons to the quirks that keep her grounded, this episode dives into the woman behind Frontier Technologies. So raise a glass and plug in, because today, the boss is in the hot seat. Let's rewind a bit. What inspired your career in tech and leadership?
Wow. Well, really good question, David, because I wasn't supposed to be here in tech or business. I was in college and I was studying to be a doctor at one point. And then I said, okay, well, maybe I would go into nurse anesthetist school. I always wanted to do that. I found anesthesiology cool, found orthopedic surgery very cool. And then I said to myself, I graduated from college and I was an athlete in school. And so
What did you play?
I played tennis.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. It was an interesting experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yes. And so with my schedule and the classes and everything, I ended up having to take like a lot of summer courses, and felt like I didn't have time because I was just always in school. And graduated college, and then my mom, it was a summer, and then I was going back to school. And my mom gave me an opportunity, and I said, I don't know if I really want to do this. And it's a lot of money and a time and a commitment, and I wasn't ready for it. And I said, I don't know what I want to do. So my mom offered me an opportunity to join the company, Frontier Technologies. And so I literally went from science lady all the way to going into technology. So it was a really interesting switch. So I never thought my path would cross in this way, but I also never expected the amount of success I would have either. I've learned a lot of really good things. I still find medicine extremely cool. I get a lot of it just because I studied it. I mean, clearly I'm not a professional in it, but I understand like the body and cells and how certain things work just because I studied it. But that's how I got into technology. Here I am now. And business. I got thrown in. Baby.
I think that's how a lot of us got
choice.
into technology. We just kind of fell into it. I don't think many people choose it. If they knew the truth, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right. Who were your biggest influences growing up and like early in your career?
That's a good question. Some of my biggest influences, I would say, I have to give credit to my parents. They always drilled in the passion, the commitment, the determination in me from a kid. And so it was always just drilled in me to just, once you're committed to something, you got to own it, you got to practice it, and you're not going to be good at it in the beginning. But if you go day by day, within day by day, it becomes a practice. And within a month or two, you're coasting, you're sailing because you know what you're supposed to be doing. You have a purpose. And so they drilled it in me in the beginning. I also, because we were part of my mom was originally part of a lot of different networking groups. And within those networking groups, they were with a lot of different small business owners, entrepreneurs, and female leaders, male leaders, right? Just owners. And I was really lucky to be that young, aspiring entrepreneur where I had some really great influencers on both sides of the business. A lot of people in technology, a lot of people in staffing and biomedical research. I mean, and like all different types of construction, all different types of industries. And a lot of these men and women that I've met along the years really helped shape me and mold me. And the way that they would always explain how business worked, right? Dealing with finances, dealing with cash flow, looking at accounting. And I remember at my young age joining the business, right? Because I left college, I graduated and I went right into the business, right? So my experience was zero. And looking at the books like numbers, I had no clue what I was doing. And I always remember being so overwhelmed and having not a clue. And always going back to my mom or my dad and asking them all these questions. And I felt really dumb because I didn't understand, but you have to start somewhere. And I took a lot of their experiences and looking at how they handled a lot of the same business problems that you encounter every day. And it exposed me to a lot of the hardships that I would see later in my life. And those people and key influences, they helped expose me to certain things that I don't think I would have ever known if I didn't see it. Because I think your parents always try to shelter you no matter what, right?
Right.
So they're parents, they're business, right? You work in business with them, but they're still sheltering you from a lot. And then it's amazing how now they work for me, and there's a lot of things that I'm handling, and I go, oh, got it. And I find myself doing the same thing with them. Like, we don't really need to have that conversation. We can move on from it. Like, I know the answer. Let's move on. And it's interesting how that journey, you grow from that journey, from the beginning to now. Yeah. And I have a lot more to learn. So don't get me wrong. I got a lot more.
Who do you follow today? What influencers? I mean, there's certainly a lot of people out there online and people that, that are, that's an actual term now as an influencer. Who do you follow today that helps to kind of mold your leadership strategy and how you approach life and business?
Yeah. I am a big fan of Layla Hermosi. So I know you and I have talked about her before, and her husband, and how they really have come from nothing, and then they grew that business and multiple businesses now, and they're so super successful. And I more look at them not necessarily from their growth, but from the passion and the endurance and the commitment and that day-to-day experience that they understand. I can completely relate to. So that really makes a big difference to me. I'm a big Mel Robbins fan. I find a lot of her let them, let me theory is really important. And I like that. And I try to practice that into my daily life now. And then there's Rob Dials and so many more that I pay attention to. And I think they're just, they help me again, because when I look at them, I guess I'm not necessarily looking at them from how they went from A to Z. I more look at it from how did they handle getting from day 1 to day 2, and how did they get through it? Because I think a lot of people, and I always have to remind myself too, that the struggle, people always see how you got from A to Z and then think, oh, it was just easy. That's how you got from here to there. It's not easy. No one understands the pressures. Whether you're like a company that makes $25,000 a year, right, in revenue, or you're multi-millionaire, like 7-8 figure size company. And you don't realize that no matter what, the hardship is still real. And I think that's where I get stuck, and I look at them for their help and their advice, and just reminding myself that there's more to life. And that's how they inspire me. So that's what gets me through like day to day.
Yeah. A lot of the overnight successes that you see out there are far from it, so that's the hard part that
absolutely
people don't see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you always envision yourself running a company?
No. Well, let me take a step back and think about that. I think leadership was always there for me. I think I always knew that. I always knew how to be a leader. I always knew how to make decisions. I'm always quick to say when I don't know how to make a decision. I'm very quick to say, I'm very tired at making a decision. You're going to make the decision, because I'm going to just follow what you say. I don't always follow people. I'm very true and dear to me just doing what makes sense for me. But I forgot your question again. So can you repeat that?
Did you always envision yourself running a company?
So with that, I always knew, thank you for rephrasing. Leadership was always there. And I never envisioned myself. I never thought I would be there. But if I thought about it, right, if I ended up going that medical career, and it's really funny because my one friend calls me a nursing school dropout, a medical school dropout, and she'll sing that song from Greece, right? And it's really funny. And we laugh about it now. Yeah. And then she goes, look at where you are now. But I think even if I ended up in that medical direction, I think I would have ended up just being a leader, because that's just what I think was just destined for me. So no, I didn't envision it, but I knew it was I guess it was going to happen regardless of my industry.
when your mom offered you that opportunity out of college,
Yep.
and you started working for Frontier,
Yeah.
did you know right away that this was, that you were going to take over, that this is going to be the, this is where you were going to go? Like,
Yeah.
what was when did
that's
you realize that, all right, now I'm here, like this is going to be mine, I'm taking over? And
Definitely. Well, I'm going to take a moment and just describe. I remember the moment we were sitting in the car and graduated college, and I went down to coach tennis, and because obviously I play tennis, and I coached tennis down in Texas, and I was living with my sister. And I remember for a whole 6-8 weeks, I was in Dallas and it rained the whole time. So I didn't really work much. So I didn't really make much money. And I think that also was what kind of spurred, the discussion with my mom at that point. And so I was just sitting there and I was really bored. So clearly I just went to the gym a lot because there wasn't anything else to do. And then the rain stopped, and then, I was working, and then it was time to come back, and it was like August time frame, and I think school was starting maybe September-ish. And I remember my sister came up, and it was my sister, me, and my mom in the car. And we were just driving around, just doing what we normally do, just putzing around, just wasting time, just going to the stores and hanging out. And I remember just literally telling my mom, I don't know if this is what I want to do. It's a lot of time and money and commitment and schooling, and I don't know if I have it in me. I'm done with school. I want to go live. I want to get knocked down, get back up again. That's what I want to experience. And she offered that opportunity, and I remember
Chumbawamba started playing in the background.
Yes, right, exactly. Exactly. Side note, Doyle should put some Chumbawamba in. That'd be funny. And so that, that in the background, and then my mom offered. And then I remember my sister being like, uh-oh. I think she had a feeling and saw something, whether it was going to be good or bad. Not bad, of course, but, she had her opinions on it. And a lot of people had opinions, and no one agreed with what I was going to do. And I remember looking at everybody saying, okay, it's my life. Like, I got to do it. So my choice. And I went ahead and I went forward. I would say, to answer the latter part of your question, how long did it take me? I'm trying to think. I would say it took about 6-7 years or so till I really realized my full potential. I was also still young, and you were asking me earlier about, is it easier being an employer or an employee? At that point in time, I was really just truly enjoying being an employee. I didn't have to worry about anything. I had no responsibilities. I had to go to work, do my job, go home. And I was truly enjoying that and fulfilling that experience and desire. And as I got more experience and realized my full potential in the business, and I started to see a lot of success, that's when I started to realize, okay, we have something. And then I started to put together some of the experiences from my other business owners that were telling me their hardships, and whether it was finance or sales or operations, right? Whatever their issues were. And I started taking what they were teaching me and actually really understanding that and applying that into the business. And 6-7 years into that, it all started kind of come to light, like, okay, wait, I can do this here. This is something that I can do. I got to start having some serious adult conversations with my parents about the direction of the business, the direction of my future, and that. But there was a time where I remember looking at going for interviews for other jobs. And then I just went, I don't know if I could ever work for somebody else. I don't think so. My personality is just too all over the place. And I don't like to be controlled. And I didn't think that was going to be a good fit. So excited that I never went down that direction. However, as I previously, have talked about in conversations, that I think there's a good experience that you get from going into the business world. But like I tell a lot of my business friends who have children and they're contemplating coming to the business, and they say, oh, they should go work in the real world. I go, remember, I don't think they have to always work in the real world. I didn't go in the real world and look where I am now. you get real world experience, but I think it's also up to the parents or whoever it is to really make sure that their child goes through it, because you have to see it. You can't be sheltered. At some point, that shelter, the sunglasses, the shades, whatever words you want to use, has to be lifted. And I think once you get that experience, you're good. And I don't think it matters whether you're in corporate world or if you're working in entrepreneurship world.
Did you struggle with people who may have already been employed with the company when you joined?
Yes.
Like, oh, here's the boss's daughter. Like,
Yep.
what was that like?
That was, it was there. I mean, again, nepotism was always a conversation that always came up, and I don't think it was true I don't think it was true and uncalled for. And again, this is my perspective. I don't think I ever took advantage of that. They were my parents, but I still showed up. If work was at 8:00, I would show up at 8:00. If work was at 9, if we had to do things over the weekend, I mean, I would show up. I remember there was one moment in time where I was late, and I was so embarrassed because I was never taught to be late. I was always taught to be there on time or early, right? I'm never a late girl. And I just, I don't think I ever took advantage of it. But I think I had the benefit of them being my parents. So they were able to sit there. They were able to explain more things to me and explain why this meeting was serious or this meeting was not serious because of that. So did I have advantage? Yes. But I don't think I ever took advantage of this situation, if that makes sense.
Sure. So how would you describe your leadership style?
Really good question. I can say I think my leadership style has evolved a lot over the years. That the leadership really just kind of got instilled in me when I actually thought and believed I had a chance to take over this company. And that's when I said, okay, I need to start thinking about what kind of person I want to be. And I try to create a good balance of friendship, camaraderie, openness. I think everybody needs to be able to express their opinions and their thoughts, but I think it has to be done constructively. I try to create an environment where people are open and they're comfortable to talk and express their opinions. But I also try to support the fact that they have to come with constructive criticism on next steps, because just sitting in the problem and just talking about the problem doesn't get us anywhere. And with business, we always have to remember that business is business and your emotions don't really factor into business. And so I try to cultivate that environment. I also try to cultivate fun, and that camaraderie piece I think is fun. You need to laugh. You need to be able to get along with people. You need to create that trust, that rapport. You have to understand, the employee's personal situations, problems, whatever that might be, because that factors into how you have to respond to certain people. And also as a leader, you have to be very in tune with humans and feelings and reactions, and have to figure out, you have to, not one size fits all. So, if I have to talk to one person like this, okay, it doesn't mean that same approach affects somebody else. So it's just also being well aware of your people. And I think that's really important. And I try to demonstrate that with my team.
So what values guide you as a leader, especially during difficult decisions?
When I reflect on having to make some really hard decisions in the business, you have to remember that the business needs comes first. And so when you're making decisions for the business, it has to be what's going to get the business to the next place. And it's, again, a lot of it comes down to your goals. A lot of my goals are driving this business forward, continue profitability, growth, scalability, right? Like those are all really important for me. And so when I'm looking at making certain business decisions, again, it comes with hiring, firing, buying certain technology assets, right? Like whatever makes sense, right? All of that is an asset if you think about it. Whatever asset it is, it's about what's going to make best sense for the business. Is it going to drive that business forward? And I really hold true to that. And even if it's a decision where you personally really want it, but does that 5,000, 10,000, 1 million, I mean, whatever that cost might be, does that really make sense? And that's what, I hold true to, and that's what my parents have really demonstrated to me. It's not you, it's what makes sense for the business. It's an asset. You have to treat it like an asset.
Yeah, take the emotion out of it.
Yeah,
right?
you have to take the emotion out of it. Because trust me, the business doesn't care about your emotion. That's one thing I've learned through business, that it's okay, you feel like that, great. Well, what's important for the business? And so it's always interesting when I hear it from my perspective. Obviously, I'm on one side, and then I have a lot of friends still in corporate America, and I listen to their stories, and I get it. I get it from that other side. And I always tell them, I go, understand, but remember that we don't want to be doing those decisions. We don't want to be letting all these people go, or changing this, or making you all go to work every day, or from working from home, whatever your changes are. But that's going to lead to productivity, which means a better group and better sales and better camaraderie. So it's a bigger picture besides you. So I just always said, that's what I have to remember. It's not you, it's a business. It's an overall whole.
Yeah.
Big picture.
And so how do you go about building culture at Frontier?
Well, we try to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think fun is really important. The team is really small. We've just typically had a very small team in general, but we have a very family-centric culture. And it's just, we share stories, we share experiences, we share personally how our weekends went with whatever the situations are. And that helps you get to know people better. And it kind of goes back to my other point earlier when I said, you have to really understand your team. And sometimes you do have to take those moments and really just understand your team and what's going on and how their weekends are. And then you learn a little bit more about their priorities. And then you learn a little bit more about what their needs are or how to communicate with them, which I think therefore affects your culture, because you want the culture to be positive and fun, but focused. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a time for everything. And I think, but the better you know people, the better your culture will be.
So what's your proudest moment as a leader so far?
Through the years, I think what I have always was doing was I always like to put others first. I try to take care of people. I try to be that kind of person because I feel like that creates that culture of being included and wanted and taken care of. And I always thought that was important. But I think through that process, I got too comfortable and I forgot about me. And I think post-COVID, one of the biggest things that I realized that I had to do was take care of me. And as a leader, I think that's one of the most important things, right? It's like when you get on an airplane, they're like, well, you put your seatbelt on, then you put somebody else's seatbelt on. If something happens, you put your mask on, and then you help somebody else. And it's the same thing with this perspective. I felt like how am I supposed to guide the ship if I am not feeling good, if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not worried about myself? And I think that was one of the biggest things that I said. I am tired of feeling like this. And every day I'm going to find time for myself. And that's what I've done. And something for the past, 6 months or so, I said, no, I'm going to take care of myself. And that means this is my goals and these are my goals. And one of the things that I've also learned by doing that is I have my set of personal goals, but I also have the business goals. But it's interesting that now that I'm achieving my goals, I'm achieving business goals and some, to the point where I think I was telling you earlier, David, that wait, I need to do more. I need to do more because I felt like I'm accomplishing more now because I'm taking care of me first as a leader. And therefore it helps me become a better business person, a friend, confidant, business person, whatever it is that you want to describe in business, where people can talk to me and I can relate, and I'm not stressed out listening to them because I go, oh, I didn't go to the gym, or I didn't get my steps in, or I didn't eat the right things. And the more better prepared I am as a person, the better leader I am. And that's one of my biggest accomplishments that I'm really happy about recently, because it takes time. But I think it also takes maturity. I think it takes growth. And I think it also takes, you just have to have that mindset. If you don't have that mindset, you're not going to accomplish it, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And building new habits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's the hardest part is getting going and then creating those habits.
Absolutely. It's building those. You're right. Because it takes time. It's like one day at a time, one foot in front of another, right? Whatever, however you want to slow it down, but you have to break it down to those very basic building blocks. And once you do it from the building blocks, like you said, habits form, and it's easy, and it's really good habits form, but it does take a while to form those new habits.
Yeah. Back to you mentioned you played tennis. I played tennis in high school, and our coach had us watching video of people serving. And it was the video would repeat the serve 21 times because apparently if you see something 21 times, it sticks.
21, not 10, but 21.
Apparently it was 21.
Wow. So did it work? How'd your serve turn out?
I mean, it improved a little bit, but I wasn't going to any U.S. Opens or anything, but you know.
Speaking of, can't wait for this year's U.S. Open.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh gosh, I haven't even thought about that. I have no clue. Yeah. I always would say Djokovic, but you know, Djokovic might not be, who knows how long he'll be around, like LeBron James. Michael Jordan said LeBron James needs to retire soon because he has lots to comment on him. Yeah. So very curious.
Yeah, well, when your kids are playing with you, it's probably time to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah. When I start my day, I typically try to plan out my day the night before. So normally the night before, I kind of know what I'm going into for the day. And it always involves, okay, how am I getting my steps in? What are my calls looking like? Can I take calls on the treadmill? Can I take calls on a walk? Can I get outside? Whatever it may be, so I can accomplish my steps. And then figuring out, all right, in between these sales calls or these meetings, I'm going to get to the gym and lift or whatever my goals are for the day. But it's always incorporated around what's best for me and what's best for Reshma to be the best person personally so that she can be a good leader. So that's how I kind of look at it from the night before. And then during the day, it's, okay, I do what I need to do for myself. And then I look at what else can I do to better the business? So every action that I do is always to better the business. And so whether it's sales prospecting, following up on leads, also part of the prospecting process, or just catching up with people is really important. And then I always make sure I take time out for the business. I mean, right now we're at a point where business is very critical and it needs me. And so I have to always make sure that I dedicate some hours of the day for that. But as I've told some of my other team members that I had to split up my day in different pieces. So I break it up in like threes, right? So the first third's about what about me? What do I need to accomplish through the day, whether it's food, exercise, mental breaks, whatever it is. Then the second part is what's going to be best for the business to get it one step forward. How can I generate growth in the business? And then the third piece would be, okay, somebody still has to maintain and operate the business. What's needed to help generate that. But typically that's at the end of my day because that's the easiest part for me, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. That's the time when I'm just quiet and I just get it done.
What keeps you going? What drives you every day?
Wow. I think there's a constant thirst and yearning within me that always wants to be better, wants to get one step ahead, wants to get that recognition. And when I say recognition, I don't mean awards. I just want that internal recognition within myself, within the team, who's just like, wow, we did this. And that's what I'm constantly yearning for. And I feel like every day I'm doing something that I didn't ever do. And that's what keeps me going. Because I go, wow, I did that. Like, look at me. Who would have thought? And I just pat myself on the back and I go, all right. And even when I go through a lot of the frustrating points or the challenges and where things are slowing me down. That also irritates me too, because that also kind of forces me to want to keep going. Because I'm like, no, it needs to be solved. It can't take like 2 days or 3 days. Like, it needs to be solved now. And I think that's also what keeps me going, because there's things to be solved. There's things to be solved. There's things to be celebrated. And I think that's one part where I'm missing, where I need to celebrate the challenges, which I don't think I do enough. And I don't think amongst my other entrepreneurial friends, we don't do enough.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate the small stuff, because every day is a feat, right? Every day is a feat. We're up, we're alive, we're moving, we have a purpose, we're going.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a competitive person?
It's really funny that you say that, because if you ask my sister, she would probably say something different. But I think I'm competitive, but I'm competitive amongst myself. I don't compare myself to other people's journeys, other people's successes. I don't look at it like, okay, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, whoever, they're up here. Why can't I be like that? I don't look at it like that. Or even people amongst my other entrepreneurial friends. I am competitive amongst myself, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing. I think it's what keeps me going, but I think it's a bad thing in the sense of you have to celebrate your small wins. You can't be completely too hard on yourself. You can't have that shame on yourself just because you didn't accomplish X through a day or X in a week or in a month. And I think because of that, I'm competitive, but I'm only comparing myself to me. And that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize. They think that you should be, recognized up here along with everybody else. But I don't care about that status. If I know I'm doing well, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running a business is very stressful. So what do you do to manage that stress and stay grounded?
I think managing stress is really, really hard. And I think that's one of the challenges that I deal with daily. I think some days are better than the other. But what I try to do and remind myself is I'm a sticky note fanatic, but I break out my sticky notes in terms of the type of tasks and the people. So if I have a team, I write one name on one sticky note, write the other name on a sticky note, and then I write the things that I need to get accomplished on another. And then I organize myself, the fact that, okay, when I talk to this person at this time, I have my notes to get covered. This person that time, I get covered. And then in between, I have my own sets of goals to get done, because I think it's very easy to get lost in the text messages. Now, I mean, everybody can get you in every form, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, email, Facebook, whatever. I think I just said that, any form. And you can't get distracted. And I'm a person who gets distracted very easily. That's just me. And so when I know I get myself distracted, that's when I tend to get stressed, because I'm not staying focused. And so that's also part of that night before strategy ritual that I was telling you about, where I'm really clear on what I'm going to get accomplished that day. And then I make sure I write it all down, again, on a sticky note or in my notes on my phone. And then when I feel myself getting lost, and I can feel it, and then I get myself overwhelmed, I revert back to that, and then I calm down, and then I go, and then I get it done. And that's how I typically get it done, like day by day. And a lot of the time I get it done at night when I'm not distracted by other people. But that's also because that's my personality. I like to socialize. I like to connect with people. I work alone a lot during the day, and then I always make sure I find time to socialize with people in the evening, because that's really important. But within that, I've also made a lot of time to take care of myself. And I think when you take care of yourself, you're not as stressed, because you're getting your goals done. You're just making more time to do more, even though it feels like you're making it worse, but you're not. You're getting more done when you're prioritizing yourself. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're not leading Frontier, what are some of the things you love to do?
Well, I know I've said it a lot, but health and fitness is really, really big for me. One part of my biggest goals was to get back to where I used to be health-wise, fitness-wise. And I don't think I'll ever get back there, because again, I'm where I'm at now. Physically, knees hurt, body parts hurt, so it's not what it used to be. I find myself icing my knees every single day. And that's a process. but I really committed to that, and that really holds me accountable. And I invested a big amount in like online coaching from a personal accountability, fitness accountability perspective. And so I spend a lot of time with the group and resources, and they keep me motivated and excited about making the right decisions and how those right decisions, when it comes to your personal eating choices, working out choices, and that affects how everything else you handle. So I spend a lot of time with that group, and there's like local events and also national events that we go to. And I get to be around a lot of those peers, and that helps me too. And those peers also happen to be entrepreneurs, again, of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 figure size companies. So they're big companies. And so I get to learn and see. And then it's like learning and seeing. But I think what helps me more is I feel at home because I can feel like I can relate to these people. I feel like I can sit in a room with them and we're all talking about all the things that are going on. I just want to be in a room with people who finally get what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. And that's what I feel the most at home with. And so that helps me. So that's a big chunk of my time. And, tennis is hard on my body right now. So I'm trying to get more into golf, and I've tried to make more time for golf on the weekends, right? Or I take a day a week, and during the weekday, I know it, but I tend to work 7 days a week anyway. So even if I take 4 or 5 hours out of my day, Saturdays and Sundays, I'll still be there. So, that doesn't affect me. And then I love to cook, and I love to have my friends over. And, side note, we all like video games. So my friends and I like to come over and we play video games.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
What kind of video games?
We're all Nintendo people.
Okay.
So
So
play
the
Nintendo.
old school.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
We play Nintendo. I know there's so many other games, but we did not get into that. But we love Nintendo.
Yeah.
And hours can go by on the weekends, of course. And
So do you have an actual Nintendo, or did you get one of those like retro games systems?
so I have the original
the...
Nintendo. I have the original NES. But we haven't figured out. You need a lot of different cords. You can probably come over and help me figure out how to make it work, because I'm sure you would. I'm sure I just need adapters. And then we have Nintendo's 360. What? No, Nintendo.
The something 64 maybe.
Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
I think it was Nintendo 64, and then I have the Nintendo Now.
Okay.
I don't know what the Nintendo Now is called. Nintendo.
Is it the Switch?
Switch.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we have we're all Mario, Luigi,
Yeah, well,
Yoshi, Peach fans.
Classics.
So, yeah, the classics. So that's what we end up playing. And we have a fun time, and that's fun. And then I love to cook, and I love having dinner parties, and I also like to sit by myself a lot. I really do. Because it's a lot. It's a lot to be on for everybody, to be a positive resource, to be fun, to be a friend, to be a confidant, whatever it is, the roles that I am. And so sometimes I love to sit by myself, but not for too long, because I get bored. And I need social people to talk to me and keep me busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the quiet's always nice.
Quiet's very nice. Yeah. I could spend a good day by myself. Not more than that. Then I'm bored.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a book, show, or podcast you're into right now?
Well, interestingly enough, I just finished the book "Let Them" by Mel Robbins, and I think it was good. She reviews a lot of different ideas and perspectives on how you need to handle things and how other people are, and how you need to interpret that and how that needs to affect you or not affect you, right? Depending on what the situation is. And I think it's just a good reminder of you can't control people. People are going to do what they're going to do. Adults are going to do what they're going to do. And you have to have a certain type of respect and compassion and empathy and be like, okay, can't control it. I can control me. I can control what I eat, I drink, I do, whatever it is. And that's what the focus should be. And that's what I think that was one of my biggest takeaways. There's a lot of lessons in her book, but it was a good book. And I love reading. I've always been a big self-help book, for lack of better words, type of person. I really like those books, but I also like the military books. I mean, what is the one book? The Lone Soldier, right? And that was a big movie with Mark Wahlberg back in the day. And it's a great book. I love reading and listening to the military training and the style. I think it speaks a lot. I think there's a lot of truth in that type of lifestyle and how you have to approach things. And I respect that. So I really like books like that too, because it just reminds you of how to be to me. So that's what speaks to me.
Have you ever read a book or listened to an audio book that just like fired you up so much that you were like ready to just go?
There are a lot of different books. And again, I just mentioned Let Them. There's a lot more that I've read that I'm just drawing a blank on at the moment. However, they all inspire me to maybe change one thing in my life. They all have many different views and values that you can take, but I just try to take one thing from it and say, okay, implement that into my life. And that's all you can do from these books, because it's overwhelming. And again, these books are also from one perspective.
Sure.
And each perspective does not necessarily relate to yours. But it's important just to see how other people think. And I think viewing and understanding how other people think is really important, because it helps you understand how to read the world and how to take the world and how to not let that world affect you. I think that's really important in all the books, right? Because it can be in professional, it can be in personal settings, it can be whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I listened to a Grant Cardone audiobook.
Okay.
And I was not in a sales role at all. And I'm like, all right, I need to go sell something. That's how it just fired me up.
It just fired you up. How'd that work out?
I mean, I didn't sell anything but it was interesting. And it's,
totally
getting that, it motivated me to do what I was doing better. And just it just gives you that little bit of that fire. Cause sometimes you lose it and you need it. What advice would you give to young women that are aspiring to be leaders, especially in tech?
Yeah. I think there's a couple messages that I would say to these young females trying to grow into this industry. I think the first thing I would say is you don't necessarily have to be studying technology or in technology in order to be in technology. So don't stress about that. I know there's a big push in STEM. Of course, I get it. I agree with it. Women should be in STEM. There's no reason why they shouldn't be in STEM. However, if your journey's not in STEM, it's okay too. You can still find your way back to wherever you're supposed to go. Look at where I ended up. So it doesn't have to be a structured path. You don't have to go down A to B to C. It could go A to F to then back to B, and you're still okay, because if you know your purpose and your journey of where you're going, it's okay. So don't be so hard on yourself if it's not following the path that you predicted or wanted, because my path never took me to where I am today. I think that's one important thing. And then I think the other thing is, you're going to have a lot of naysayers, right? You're going to have people make fun of you. You're going to have people just bring you down on your decisions. And you can't let those people affect you. People are going to comment. Like I said in the beginning, I think I said in this one, when I chose this journey to be in this business or work with a family, I had a lot of people saying, you're not making the right decision. This is a horrible decision. What are you doing with your life? What's wrong with you? You're an idiot. I mean, I got every kinds of things. And I didn't really care about those opinions. And it drew me to the point where I didn't want to be friends with some of those people anymore, because if they didn't respect again, you don't have to like my decision, but you don't have to call me names just because you don't think it's the right decision. It's my life, not yours. And you have to make your choices. And I think that's another thing that I would just tell these young females. Make your choice and own your choice. And if it still doesn't work out for you, then it's okay. You own it doesn't work out for you, and then you go back to step B or C or D. And I think that's really important for females to learn, because I, through a lot of therapy, have come through in the fact of there's a lot of things as you're growing up that impacts you, but shouldn't impact you. If you know what you're supposed to do and you know your decision and you keep studying that and understanding what your purpose is, it doesn't matter. So try to define that early so that you ignore everybody else. And it's okay if you mess up. Yeah. And I could go on and on and on with more thoughts. And I think the third or fourth or fifth or whatever advice I'm on now is, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to fumble. It's okay to completely screw up. You'll be okay. Tomorrow's a new day. Do something different about it. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not going to be easy, but you'll be able to get up and figure it out. You have that mental strength. I think you can.
And along those lines, what's a lesson that you've had to learn the hard way?
Oh, gosh. How many lessons have I had to learn the hard way? A lot. A lot of decisions. I think through the years, hiring has been always a big challenge. I'm sure a lot of my entrepreneurial friends will understand that. That's extremely hard. I think dealing with different assets of the business and what we need to invest in, what not to invest in, what's going to lead to a better ROI. There were some poor choices on that too. And that's also people, right? So that also is hiring and assets as well. Has been super challenging. And I think a lot of I don't know if it's a regret or anything, no regrets, but timing is everything. And so there were some moments of life where I go, we should have taken advantage of certain things during certain times, but we didn't, for whatever that reason is, whether I don't want to blame anybody. And even though that timing is missed, it's okay because the timing will come back again. So if you feel like you lost that timing, it'll come back again. And sometimes it's funny because I reflect upon it now. There were certain decisions and timings where I've always been thinking about the growth for the business. When I say growth, I mean inorganic growth. And what are some of the things that need to be done for the business? And obviously that means you have to change a lot of the things internally if you're looking at inorganic growth. When I say inorganic growth, right? Capital investments, right? Or getting bought out or selling your company, M&A, whatever that might be. And I reflect upon it now and where I am running the business. I see where it was when I looked at it like those 5 or 10 times. And I realized that even though the timing was there, it still wasn't right, because where I'm at now, it still wasn't right. So even if the timing's not right, it's okay. Trust it. Because when I see it now, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad we didn't do it. I wish we did, but I'm glad we didn't, because I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
If you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't shame yourself. You're going to make choices. You're going to make choices that are best for you as a person and what's best for you in your career, in your business, whatever it is. And just make your decision and own it. Don't second guess yourself. That's your decision. That's your choice. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, fine. Then you have the strength. You build the strength personally within your character that helps you feel strong to get to the next. I mean, you're not gonna make all the right decisions. Trust me, I made many poor decisions in life, right? We all have, right? If you think about it fundamentally, from as children to where we are now, we have. But kids don't have shame in their game, right? Like they don't. So why do you have to carry the shame? And I think that's the biggest thing that I would tell my younger self. Okay, fine. Tomorrow's tomorrow. Like, forget about it. Move on. Because it's really interesting, because in your head, you're always thinking about what other people are thinking about you. But it doesn't matter, because once you realize that it doesn't matter because you made that choice, tomorrow is a new day, you can choose to move on. And as soon as you choose to move on, no one else pays attention to it.
Yeah. And there's a saying that my mom always had up on the refrigerator that I don't remember it exactly, but it was something along the lines of, if you really knew how much people did not care, you would focus so much less on what they thought.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do some rapid fire questions.
Yay. Yes, let's do it.
All right. Early bird or night owl?
Both?
It can't be both.
I can't be both. Well, my Oura ring says I'm a mid-morning type of girl, but I'm also a social girl at the evening, it says as well. So, but it says both. But if you ask me, definitely more of a night owl.
Okay.
Night owl for sure. We'll hang all night if you ask me to. I will go. I'll hang.
Delegate or do it yourself?
Do it myself.
Favorite leadership quote?
Go big or go home.
One word your team would use to describe you.
Oh, man. Wow. How would you describe me, David?
No.
No? That's
I'm asking the questions.
What? Amy, what would you say? How would you describe me in one word? This is fun.
Organized.
Oh, organized. Rude. I was going to say fun.
Fine.
I think organized is cool. No, I think that's good. Organized, yeah. Organized for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very organized. Somebody opened my fridge the other day and they went, "Whoa, it's organized." And I go, "Yes, because I told somebody how organized I want it to be." So
that was Amy.
yeah. Amy organized it because she says, and she organized it by flavor as well.
Oh, wow. I guess that's the benefit of having all those kids.
Yes, exactly. That's her, not me.
Right. What's your superpower as a leader?
I'm always around. I'm always online. I'm always available. I don't know if it's a superpower or detriment, but I'm around and I'm available and I try to be responsive because I don't want to ever impact I don't ever want to impact the business. So if it's helping people move one step forward, I want to be available. And that's really important to me.
Mm-hmm. What's your biggest productivity hack?
Productivity hack. These are some interesting questions. I would say organization and writing everything down. And that's how I make sure I remain productive. If I don't do that, then nothing gets done.
Okay. Email, phone call, text message, or Teams?
Oh, God. Hate Teams. So negative on Teams. Teams is just kind of what it is. You know, I feel bad. Like if it's on the weekends, I don't want to text my team. So I'll just send it on Teams. So they'll see it when they see it, right? And then I don't feel as bad as like bothering them on the weekend. But text, 100% text. Yeah. I'm a texter. Text me. Got it. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Text.
But don't call. Nobody talks on the phone, right?
I only call if I have to. I mean, I'll talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Meetings, love them or hate them?
Meetings? Mm-hmm. Depends if they're productive or not. So if we're just having a meeting, to discuss why this meeting didn't go well, to go to the next meeting, no, I'm out. I got more things to do with my time because like I told you, I split my time up very like purposely throughout my day. So if a meeting is to get something accomplished, I'm in. If it's a meeting not going to get something accomplished, I'm out. So it depends on the purpose. Okay. This is fun, David. I like this.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Done. 3 times a day. 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
I get my afternoon cup. Amy, you want some coffee? I'm good. Yeah. Or yes, she'll have coffee.
And that's why you're a night owl.
Yes, exactly. I try to kick the habit. It's hard. I can't.
What is the last show you binged?
The Last of Us, and now I'm all caught up, and I'm very sad.
That's always sad. It's always depressing when you find a good show and you binge it and then it stops. Yeah. It's like, oh, now what?
It stops or something happens in the show, which I'm not going to tell people, but something happens in the show. I'm like, oh. Another one real fast is I binged on 1923.
Oh.
Which was part of the Yellowstone. So one I was sad because I finished it last week so fast and I went,
yeah, he's got some good ones, Taylor Sheridan.
He does. I like all of his shows. I like them.
Yeah. Go-to karaoke song.
Oh, God. Off the top of the head, Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way.